I mean, I've talked to some professors who say that they get kind of whole schemes on how to teach in a way that isn't too critical of the students. So how do you run a seminar without criticizing the students, which is incredibly counterproductive in a situation where students are reading less and less prepared for class, and then the professors are not allowed to tell them that they're being idiots and need to get their shit together. So I think that really, it is actually changing the university experience for everyone and making it worse for everyone. But people aren't so keen on pointing it out because they don't want to be the ones who roll back quote mental health support for everyone.
I'm just wondering, so you talked about the ways in which like lecturers and professors will placate students who say something from mental health in regards to giving them extensions for assignments, and they might do the same for exams as well. But what other ways do they placate like the students who have mental health? Because you list some of them in the letter of liberty, and some of them I thought were just very, very odd.
Yeah, so I think you have, I guess, two different t strands of it. So you have what the professors do, which is very much, the extension stuff. It's not, it's things you kind of know from primary school, like the compliment sandwich. Say something positive, then say something negative, and then say something positive again. So that, this kind of thing, which really shouldn't be how you treat fully grown adults when they've written an essay. You should tell them exactly what is and is not wrong with their work. So that's kind of one side of it, and that's the professors. And this is also where you have various schemes where they're told how to teach and this kind of thing. The other side of things is kind of the administrative side. So you have these very big sort of well-being schemes. You have the well-being teas. I think I bring up the well-being alpacas in Oxford, which were a whole story a few years ago, where Oxford brought a horde of alpacas onto campus in order to be petted by the students if they were feeling stressed. Of course, they were so noisy that they were disrupting people's exam study, so that kind of backfired a little bit. You also have in the US, you have schools where you also have this in the UK, but schemes that kind of interfere in the immediate social lives of students. So there was a kind of no contact orders thing where you can get if someone is initially it was for sexual assault cases. So if you'd been sexually assaulted by someone, you would get a no contact order for them so that you wouldn't be put in the same classes as them. But this was kind of slowly expanded to include things like a roommate you fell out with, who you can now put on a list, and then if you're put in the same class, you can complain about it. So you're asking the university bureaucracy to step into disputes between ex-boyfriend, ex-couples, to step in between ex-roommates, this kind of thing. So it becomes students are asking the university bureaucracy to come in and mediate their everyday lives. In Britain and in Ireland, they have similar things, but at my university, it's called the Dignity, Respect and Consent Service, which all sounds very good. But it's this body where you can bring a complaint to them if you feel you have been harassed or bullied or sexually assaulted, which is not a legal body. So it's not actually accusing someone of committing a crime. It is accusing someone of making you feel uncomfortable. And then you go through sort of a protracted process where you try to work out where some administrators sitting down and mediating between two people, where none of them have done anything that's worse than that. None of them have done anything you would bring to the police. So the university shouldn't be involved in this in the first place, but it is kind of justified as a way of making students feel like something is being done about their complaints. And it develops this relationship between the student and the university, where the university is the sort of is a product, and the student is a consumer that complains to the bureaucracy whenever anything is wrong.
That no contact order you just explained, it sounds very discriminatory in the sense that you might not just like the look of someone and then you could just complain about them, which to me just I just find it bizarre. I mean, it's like sticks and stones and all that. It's like, why not just, if you don't like someone, I don't want to look, just ignore your day. I don't know why students can't do that.
Yeah, I think I mean, it kind of works on the opposite assumptions to the legal system, I think. So the legal system, if you take out a restraining order against someone, you need to have a good reason, and it needs to be, proven that they have done something wrong, for something like that to be done. I think the university bureaucracy works on the opposite assumption. They kind of err on the side of caution. So if someone reports someone for something, it is enough that the student says, this person made me feel uncomfortable in some way. And that can then trigger, this systematic response, which is then the no contact order, which again is not a legal thing. It's just an internal university kind of system. And then you can, once you've done that, then if someone breaks your no contact order in the university, then it might actually be taken to a legal thing. But I think you're right that the university ends up just indulging anyone's sort of impulses about, oh, this guy is a bit creepy, or oh, this like person, I don't like the look of this guy. And then you can kind of wrap it in this language of discomfort and fear, and then the university will take you seriously, even though they very much shouldn't. And they should be sticking, kind of butting out of anything really that is only to do with the interpersonal relations of the students.
I know you said it's expanded from no sexual contact to something else, just looking at someone, for instance. But I'm just wondering if someone was to leave university, be thrown out of university because of non-contact orders, and none of them are to do like with any like sexual contact, but to do with like, for example, I've had a falling out with someone. I imagine if you go in a wider world with your CV and there's a gap where you should have completed university, trying to explain that to an employer, oh, it's because of a non-contact order, they're automatically going to think it's to do with like sexual contact because they might not understand the actual wide definition of that, and that has real
Yeah.
serious.
So I think generally you can't be thrown out of the university for a no contact order. The thing it will come up on is kind of your your non-academic student record. So there's kind of, it'll say, as you say, some people, it kind of depends on what kind of search you do. And this is, again, it's all unclear. Because it's not legal or it's not regulated in any kind of way, it is unclear where this information can be seen by employers or other things. But you're right, if there's only just one sentence on the thing and it says, non-academic, a non-academic infraction or something, then employers can kind of draw their own conclusions about what something like that might be. And it's kind of unclear. I think with the no contact orders at this university, it was very much an administrative thing where the university was dealing with it on the spot. Like it was just making sure that people weren't in the same classes or weren't in the same societies. But it can really, you can imagine this being very, like, you might not even know that someone's taken out a no contact order against you. So there was someone who was interviewed in the Wall Street Journal article about this, who sort of the way she discovered that someone had a no contact order against them was that she tried to enroll in a course or sign up for a society and then was told, well, you can't because this person is there and they have a no contact order against you. And that's kind of how you find out. And, it might not even have been a conflict you recognized as bad enough that such an order should happen. So the universities aren't, the universities are just trying to make sure that fewer people complain, but it ends up having this effect of making everyone really anxious and nervous about each other because you might do something that could trigger them reporting you to the university authorities in this way.